AI is not making you smarter, it's actually doing the opposite. Every time you are asking AI a question and simply accepting the answer without even thinking, a specific part of your brain is dying that humans took 200,000 years to develop. To address this, a group of scientists at Lancaster University decided to run an experiment. They gathered 295 ordinary people and provided them a simple task of looking at 80 different faces on their screen and whether decide they were generated by AI or were they real images. And the results were shocking. These scientists carefully picked those faces which were genuinely hard to predict, but not impossible if you're paying attention. 40 of those faces were real and 40 of those were fully generated by AI. There was a small card right next to each face with a message on it. For half the participants, it said something like this, that based on an AI trained on facial recognition data, this is a AI generated image. And for the other half participants, the message was, based on 100 human experts in facial recognition, this is a real image. But here's when things got interesting. Researchers had made this all up, and the guidance was only perfect half the time. These scientists wanted to test if people would follow the card without questioning it or would they trust their own judgment. And then the results came in, and honestly, they are not what anyone expected. People were not just blindly doing whatever the card told. When the guidance was right, they tend to agree with it. When it was wrong, many of them pushed back and went with their own instinct. Their overall accuracy was around 66 to 67%. But there was also one more catch in the research. Just after completing all the faces on their screen, everyone was asked to answer two more questions. Question one was, how much do you trust other people? And question two was, how much do you trust AI? Based on these questionnaires, they identified that the people who trusted AI more did the worst at this task. And the candidates who trusted humans more did not hurt their performance much. But the candidates who had simply ignored the guidance and made their own decisions, those candidates performed the best out of everyone. If you think this is just a lab experiment with no real world stakes, let me tell you what happens when this same psychological pattern repeats at 30,000 feet. On February 12th, 2009, Colgan Air Flight 3407 crashed into a house in Clarence Center, New York. 50 people died in that incident, not because technology failed, but because the pilots did not do their job correctly and over relied on the automation. Now, you might be thinking that these pilots are under pressure and they are tired and mistakes do happen. But what does that has to do with me sitting at my laptop asking AI to write an email? It isn't life-threatening. It can possibly go wrong. As it turns out, it still has a lot of negative effect on our brain. As our brain activity drops by 47% the moment we start using the LLM. This number is not something I made up, but based on the research at the MIT Media Lab. To get that, what they actually did was they hooked up 54 students to EEG headsets. These are the devices that measure brain wave activity in real time. And then they split those students into three groups for an essay writing task. The first group used ChatGPT, the second group used Google Search. The third group used nothing but their very own brain. Then they watched what happened inside their brains. The brain-only group showed the strongest, most widespread neural connectivity across the frontal parietal network, which is the brain's command center for executive functions, deep thinking, and piecing together complex ideas. The Google group came in second. Their brain engagement was moderate but noticeably less than people writing from scratch. And the ChatGPT group performance was worst. Their brains were quiet. Researchers measured a roughly 47% drop in brain connectivity compared to the brain-only group. More than half of that high-level neural connectivity was gone. The specific region of the brain that took the major hit was prefrontal cortex. It is the part that is responsible for critical reasoning, planning, and decision making. It is the part that makes you you, and it is the most recently evolved part of our human brain. And it is the part that separates us from every other species on this planet. And here's a part that genuinely surprised the researchers. In the final session, they asked the ChatGPT users to rewrite their essays, and their brains has forgotten sentences they wrote minutes earlier. It was something that their brain, in a sense, completely forgot to think in full capacity. And this is what the researchers called cognitive debt. So now that you know what AI is doing to our brain, let's understand how it is doing it. And before even that, let's understand how even our brain makes a decision. And it works in a way that most people have never imagined. Let me explain this to you with an example. Imagine that your brain has buckets that fills up as it gathers information. Once a bucket is full, the threshold is reached. And when enough buckets are filled, means enough knowledge is gathered, your brain makes a decision. Say if you are deciding to cross a street, your brain collects information from the surrounding world to fill up the way or walk buckets. When you observe that traffic light is red or there are no cars, your walk bucket fills up. If you see cars approaching or the light is green, your wait bucket fills instead. When there is enough evidence in the walk bucket, your brain sends a signal that it is safe to cross the street. In this process, access to accurate information has a strong influence on decisions. Our personal values, priorities, beliefs, and biases are reflected in this process too. They act as a lever that controls which bucket information flows into, as well as the speed of the flow. Now keep this bucket model in mind because this is where AI comes in and messes with the system. AI systems are able to influence the type and quality of information that goes into those buckets. Algorithms boost echo chambers by highlighting the data that aligns with your existing preferences. This limited exposure to diverse viewpoints results in skewed decisions, restraining the brain's natural ability to adapt and question biases. Think about it. When a friend tells you something, if they pause, they hesitate, they ask, I think, or I'm not sure, those tiny moments tell our brain how much to trust them. AI never does that. It answers everything with the same confident tone, whether it's right or completely wrong. Because AI sounds human, we treat it like an expert. But an expert that never admits that it is wrong or uncertain. So it might flood your bucket with wrong data at times. And we did not walk up into this with our guards up. For the last 20 years, big tech has been making us trust the algorithms, making us click on that recommended video, making that purchase, etc. etc. And by the time ChatGPT came in 2022, we were already hooked up to these machines. And when ChatGPT answered all our questions, we did not question it back, we just listened. Okay, now, what do you actually do about this? Because ChatGPT, Gemini, or Claude, or any other platform is here to stay, and it is making our lives easier if we use it correctly. The fix isn't avoiding AI. It's the one habit that separates those top performers in Lancaster study to everyone else. It's the one habit that keeps your prefrontal cortex from going dark, which is keeping your brain on for critical thinking. Maintain a feedback loop with your AI systems, where you critically evaluate every response, so the next time you ask ChatGPT or any other AI platform a question, and it gives you that confident, polished answer, pause and ask yourself, is this actually right, or does it just sound right?